Well, hi guys. The day has come. Uh, we're into the valve cover. And what I see there looks pretty daggone good. Get up here. Inside of the head looks, well, valve cover here looks good. It's clean. It is loose. That one's not so bad. That's got a lot of rock. That's got a lot of rock. So does that. That one has a whole lot. So does that one. So does that. That's tight. And the front one's loose also. So it definitely needs the valves adjusted. And like I said about the 354s, they have a, I don't want to say bad reputation for it, but if you look at where the valve cover goes, everywhere there's an exhaust port, which is here, here, and here, and also where they're drilled and tapped for the screws to hold it down, it's kind of burnt looking. But the rest of the valve cover, as you can see, is clean. But it was leaking there, there, and there. So, no big deal. We got a new gasket. I'm going to have to buy some new screws for these. I thought they were bolt heads. They're not. They're screw. But they're a fine thread, it looks like. But they're going to get changed over to a bolt head, because they're not in the easiest place to get a screwdriver. Like this front one up here, it bolts right there. You can't get a screwdriver on it. And on this back side here, they're a real bugger to get to. Now, say this. Well, hi guys. It's Monday afternoon. I believe the day is the 30th of March. And I just got done going over the valves. The biggest culprits were number 3. They were really loose. We're talking about 50 thousandths loose. But they're all, I've gone through the whole rack, set everything. There is movement now, like it's supposed to be. It's according to the book, cold intake exhaust primarily reset hot 12 thousandths. Hot intake and exhaust 10 thousandths. Now, from my own experience, I've learned instead of 12, hit them at 13. That gives you just a little more leeway, you might say, setting it cold. Like I say, this number 3 was the worst. I do have number 1 up here, if you can see that. I have a little bit of excessive slop on the rail. Rest of them are tight. You know, they're not moving, but that one's got a little wonkiness to it. I didn't take any video of adjusting the valves because, let's face it, that's boring as all get out, and besides which, somebody would have to tell me I was doing it wrong. So I do it my way, how I know how, and let it go at that. My tractor. Starter. This thing was bone dry. I've taken this cup out, screw out, and filled it 3 times with oil. There's a little piece of like foam rubber in there. Same with here. I'm using just standard engine oil in it. I filled this one up and it's now soaked in. So we'll give it another little drip. And let it sit. And I should be able to put the cap back on it. And that will force some of that oil back down in it. I've got the last one up here, the big one, to do yet on the end. I've already got this one. So the teeth on it are kind of ugly. I'm going to have to get it, I don't want to say rebuilt, but it's going to have a new gear put on it out here. And see, it's already sucking down in there. I think we can safely put the screw back in it. If I can get it started. I hate starting these one-handed. Now, hang on. Put you up here. Down where you can see. Whoops. Sorry about that. Easiest way to do it is put the daggone screwdriver back in the slot. And voila. As you tighten that up, that will force that oil into that sponge. Now, when I said the teeth were bad, if you can see that, there's about a 1/4 inch off of every one of them. So this needs to be rebuilt. No doubt about it, it needs to be rebuilt. But for now, I need to get, oh good grief. That one ain't been out in a long time. You can't even see what I'm doing there. There we go. There we go. Everybody gives me a hard time about keeping these old oil cans around. Well, there's always oil left in them. And it works just perfect for doing this kind of stuff. Now I just let that sit and soak in for a minute or two, and I'll fill it back up. Yeah, I guarantee you that thing ain't been out for a long time. It's little things like this, while you got it apart, got something off like this starter, go ahead and put some oil in it. You know, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. It can only help it. That's what I've been doing to everything as I go on this tractor. Doing those little things like this. Because who knows when the last time anybody put any oil in it. They have to force some down in it. To get it to take. And I know there's going to be probably somebody tells me I'm doing it wrong, putting the wrong oil, you know. That's alright. I know it's fixed. I know it's got it. Can you say the same thing about yours? Darn it. At least I know it has oil in it now, which it did not have in it before. My own personal thing, I'd rather spend the extra 5 or 10 minutes doing stuff like this, and in the future not having to worry about it. Now, like I say, I know this starter is going to have to be taken down and a new gear put on it. Unless I can buy one, which I might be able to do, because I can take that apart and put it back together. I've done it 100 times. It's no big deal. But like I said, I would rather spend the extra 10 minutes on a lot of this little stuff to know when I put it back together it's right, and I don't have to worry about it. I've rolled the engine over by hand several times and checking each lifter, each clearance, and it feels really good now. I've got just enough, I don't want to say resistance, but yes, it is resistance on the feeler gauge. And you can see it. Says 13 thousandths, 0.330 millimeter. So I do have the proper tools to do this. One of the things I am going to change are these bolts. These hold the valve cover down. I don't like screwdriver head holding the valve cover down, because 99 times out of 100, as you can see by the head already, they get rounded out, and then you got a problem. So, went to my local hardware store. I did not call Granger. I did not call McMaster Carr. Went to the hardware store. and got brandy new bolts. Okay. And I got lock washers and I've got flat washers to replace the old ones. I get them from there because it's local. I support my local community and businesses, and I'm not paying shipping or minimum charge order. So I get it locally. It's in my hand. I got it right now. Bam, I can put it on. I'm not waiting 2 or 3 days or a week or more with everybody with this coronavirus thing. So, I'm going to get my valve cover gasket out and the valve cover here in a moment and glue the gasket to it because that's what it says to do in the book. There is the valve cover. Rather clean, which I like, and straight. It ain't been put on with somebody trying to use the impact on it. Oh, somebody tell me it's got a number stamped in it. Maybe you can find out how old it is. ABB 371-88534 is the serial number off of this valve cover. And it is a pressed steel. It is not a cast one. So if anybody out there knows what that number is, can give maybe a date on it, let me know. It's a Perkins number. I think I'm going to leave it here for now, guys. I'm going to get valve cover glued together and put back on. Then I'm going to put the starter back in. This bolt right here is a pain in the butt to get to. So we'll be back here in a minute, guys. Okay, guys. A little informational video on a valve cover gasket. Now this is an Agco. This is from the old Oliver dealership. And that's his part number on the tag. 164890A. It's an original one. Some will say, why did you get it from them? Simple. It was sitting in their shelf. Now, on these valve cover gaskets, there is a right way and a wrong way to put these on. Okay? If you look at the valve, at the gasket, it'll pick it up. See, it's got a cutout here, here and here, on all these, right around all your hold downs. Whoops. There, there, there. Alright. The valve cover itself has a groove cut down in it, made in this. All the way around, except for right around these holes. And it comes up and it's flat. So when you put the gasket on, the backside is grooved. There's 2 grooves there. That goes toward the head. And it goes in just like that. If I can get my fingers to work. And it sits, when you get that in there properly, that sits right into that valve cover and forms a seal. Now, the book and all the Oliver mechanics I know will tell you to glue this gasket in and let it set up before you put it on the tractor. This one needs to be cleaned up because it's got dust and dirt down in this groove. But the old gasket I took out had been on there quite some time, and it is rather brittle, rather hard, I should say. And believe it or not, was in upside down. It was mounted just like this, not the way it's supposed to be. So, I know the valve cover had been off at some point in the past. Whoever put it together, back together, did not install the gasket properly. It's upside down. But like I say, on a 354 Perkins, in this tractor, the original factory gasket, there's only one way it goes on. And that double groove has to be on the head side. And this grooved section has to be down to the valve cover. So, my little tip. So there is a right and wrong way to put a valve cover gasket on an 1850. If you've got the factory gasket. I don't know what the cork gasket looks like, but they're not worth a damn, because at the two exhaust ports, which is right where these screws are at, the three exhaust ports, they get very, very hot in this area. And if it's a cork gasket, it burns the gasket and it leaks oil right in through here on the exhaust side. The rubber is much preferred, and I would suggest getting the rubber gasket. Don't go with the cork. Most of the valve covers for 1850s are not pressed steel. They're cast. This one is obviously a pressed steel one, and it's another reason I know this is a combine motor. And if you look at the primer color here and look at the red paint here, that's two different colors. So the more I get into this, the more I know that's a combine engine in this tractor. At any rate, guys, I'll be back here in a minute. I'm going to get this glued on, so I'll be back. Hang on.